If you're dropping hundreds of dollars on a single steak, you want to know exactly what you are eating. But look at almost any high-end restaurant menu today, and you'll see confusing terms everywhere. Wagyu Sliders, Kobe burgers, American A5. It is a minefield. The restaurant industry uses the word Wagyu as a highly effective marketing buzzword. It makes it incredibly difficult to know what you are actually paying for. To navigate this, we have to stop asking, what is the highest grade, and start asking, which Wagyu type actually matches my palate? Because to get the most for your money, you need to understand that different Wagyu grades are entirely different culinary tools, built for very different dining experiences. Let's start at the baseline. Wa means Japanese, and Gyu means cow. There are 4 distinct breeds, but over 90% of all Wagyu comes from the Kuroge or Japanese black cattle. These animals were originally raised for grueling agricultural work in the mountainous, muddy rice paddies of Japan. To get fast, sustained energy, their bodies adapted to store fat inside the muscle fibers themselves, rather than as an external cap of fat. This specific intramuscular fat melts at just 25 degrees Celsius. That is well below human body temperature. This creates that famous melt-in-your-mouth texture. But there is a direct trade-off. The extreme richness means trying to eat a full 16-ounce portion will physically nauseate most people. It is designed strictly for 3 or 4-ounce tasting portions. Japan treats the genetics of purebred Wagyu as a national treasure. Exporting live cattle or their DNA is heavily restricted. This diagram shows how the rest of the world adapted. Breeders created the F1 Crossbred, combining 50% Japanese Wagyu genetics with 50% traditional cattle, like Angus. This hybrid retains much of that signature Wagyu marbling, but reintroduces the savory, beefy chew you expect from a standard steak. The F1 Crossbred is the optimal choice if you want to sit down and eat an entire, traditional steak without experiencing richness fatigue, usually at a fraction of the full-blood price. When you see the code A5, the A simply means the cow yielded a high amount of meat. That matters to the butcher cutting it, but it means nothing for your dining experience. This Japanese grading card shows what actually matters to you, the number 5. It requires a perfect score across 4 strict categories: marbling, meat color, texture, and fat quality. The Japanese grading system is brutally strict. If a cut scores a 5 in 3 categories, but a 4 in texture, the entire steak is downgraded to an A4. By contrast, the Australian Wagyu grading system relies almost entirely on visual marbling density, using a scale that goes up to 9+. While the Australian 9+ skips the multi-metric obsession of Japan's system, it reliably delivers an equivalent marbling density to an A5, giving you peak luxury without the extreme import bottlenecks. Then there is Kobe. It is the most common point of confusion. Kobe is not a breed of cow, and it is not a quality grade. Kobe is strictly a regional trademark. The meat must come from a specific strain called Tajima, and it must be raised exclusively in the Hyogo prefecture under intense geographical rules. Think of it like wine. Just as sparkling wine can only be called champagne if it comes from the Champagne region of France, Wagyu can only be called Kobe if it comes from Hyogo. You can order an A5 Wagyu from a lesser-known Japanese prefecture that is biologically and qualitatively identical to Kobe, and you will completely bypass the massive brand markup. This quadrant chart maps your desired experience to the correct order. On the horizontal axis, we go from traditional beefy flavor to extreme buttery richness. On the vertical axis, we go from value to premium exclusivity. If you want a massive steak, red wine, and a full spread of sides, target the bottom left. You should order an F1 Crossbred. If you want peak A5 marbling but refuse to pay for a regional brand name, target the bottom right. You should order Australian 9+ or a non-Kobe Japanese A5. And if you are seeking a hyper-authentic 3-ounce tasting delicacy where budget is no object, target the top right. You want a Japanese full-blood A5 or true Kobe. Buying the most expensive option on the menu guarantees a rich experience. It does not guarantee it will be the right experience for your palate. If you do decide to invest in authentic Japanese A5 or true Kobe, you have the right to demand absolute proof from the restaurant. Japan maintains an incredibly tracking system. Every single Wagyu cow born there receives a unique 10-digit identification number that tracks its entire lineage from birth to plate. Authentic certificates even include an ink pressing of the cow's actual nose print, which is as unique to that animal as a human fingerprint. The true value of Wagyu is found when you understand the deep history, the science of its fat, and the strict classification system well enough to confidently choose exactly what goes on your plate.